you know, it doesn't help, but it's not the end of the world. It's going to come down to gameplay as well. That one felt like a bit very difficult to overcome. So hopefully, Nongshim going to be able to approach this next game and not get flexed on by the Olaf flex.
Yeah, I was kind of considering Nongshim would be the team that when the series goes late and a lot of these picks are taken away by Fearless, that they might be able to dig a little bit deeper into their champion pools with some of the, some of the tenure, some of the veteran nature of some of these players and how long they've been around and how deep their champion pools are. But that last one was definitely a BNK draft win. So far it's been up their alley, actually, as we are going to see Maokai.
Seen some Maokai bans start to come in like late in the draft, late in Fearless. It kind of rises in priority, especially when some of the more popular junglers have kind of been thinned out. So gets taken away from Raptor here. I imagine this is just a Ryze. With Syndra gone as well, there's no way you leave it open. Unless like you're really trying to play Anivia into it. Looks like they're trying to bait the trap. Nongshim, I see no way they don't pick up the Ryze here unless they sense a trap and they want to avoid it. Nope, they lock it in, and BNK FEARX surely have a plan here.
I don't see a good reason to give Scout Ryze for free. I mean, yeah, they might have a plan, as you're saying. They have to have a plan, otherwise we're going game 5. Feels a little bit like, okay, let's give them Orianna, and we definitely have a plan. But they don't. Let's see if they do, as it is going to be Kalista Renata, and you know, in terms of bot lane duos that are still available, still one of the stronger ones that we have. Other picks, maybe like MF. I mean, we're certainly digging deep into the AD carry champion pool.
There's still like Corki available.
Yeah, Corki.
But they're not going to pick up the bot lane now. They're going to risk going later. And they're going to go for the Wukong here for Sponge, it seems. And likely going to get a top lane pick as well, I would think. Normally you're picking top side on these three. And the Gwen just gets slammed. So now BNK FEARX in an awkward position. Do you want to secure a jungler now before they get thinned out more? Or are you going to try and answer one of these solo lanes? And remember, you can only answer one. If you were going for that Anivia pick into the Ryze, it's now or never. And that does mean this Gwen doesn't really get answered. They're not going to go for either. They're going to go for the Xin Zhao. Works well when you have an enchanter. And pretty high tier considering what's the point we're at in the series. But that means they haven't answered top. And the thing is, one of the picks that was really good into Gwen in the past was Jax. So no option to go for that. That's already been taken away. We sometimes see Ambessa do well. That's been taken away. Remember, Gwen got buffed recently to have more early healing. I mean, Jace was also Rumble. A lot of these picks have been taken out with good answers.
Yeah, champs that can go into her mist and trade up. Those are the ones that are good, and a lot of them are gone.
Yeah, I think, honestly, Kennen's a good ban. Akali used to be that OG Gwen counter, and it kind of hits both lanes at once if you want to go for that. Are you concerned about the Anivia, though? That is a question. Do you think that's going to be what VicLa brings out?
I think you're fine with it.
Yet this season. He could also go for just the Annie, honestly.
Yeah.
That seems like a VicLa pick here, Annie or Lissandra.
I like banning the Akali. I think it's a good call. Nope, just going to be Annie. More of a VicLa target. But we know he can play other stuff. Certainly one of the more meta mid laners that's left at this point of the Fearless draft, though.
And you know what you're dealing with in both solo lanes, so kind of depends if your pick hinges on seeing the entire composition. But you know your lane matchup already. It'd be cool if they went for the Akali, but looks like first off they're going for the Taliyah into the Ryze. Something we saw have a decent amount of popularity when Ryze was doing well. But I just think Ryze has so much power and is so insane when he gets to that late game point. We just saw a game where it felt like one team hit critical mass. Nongshim are looking like they will have that critical mass. Bot lane, though, Sivir, not a good matchup into Kalista.
Sivir Neeko. The choice here, so it's very difficult to ban out all the AD carries. There are so many choices. But yeah, you mentioned the matchup, so that'll be something they have to get through. Now, what are we picking into Gwen? Clear. What's it going to be?
I mean, there's still picks like Renekton, Zehen available, or the top Nidalee. This is really an early game of bust composition for BNK FEARX. They need that momentum. I think if they're even and it gets later, they're not actually in a good spot.
Yeah. We've seen some drafts like that in a row now. And yeah, I mean, there's tons of scaling on the side of Nungs from RedForce. And I feel like in terms of, like, the side of BNK FEARX, it is very early game focused. It's not like Taliyah Pantheon, though, and it's not like Taliyah Renekton. It's not, Renekton Nidalee. We don't have a lot of ways to play well together. Even the jungler Zhao is like, yeah, he can set up some picks for the Taliyah, but also not the most reliable.
You don't have that snapping gauge
Yeah.
that I think a comp who wants to set the pace of the game really would love to have. Because if you don't, you're just kind of relying on getting ahead and just maintaining that gold lead, which I don't think is super easy to do. Also, the Nidalee top tends to do well in split pushing, but I think when the other team has a Gwen who's going to scale up nicely and a Ryze, playing through side lanes isn't going to be the easiest task. I think, we said last draft there was a big edge for BNK FEARX. I think Nongshim had the advantage here. It kind of hinges on the bot lane. I think that's the matchup I'm most worried about for Nongshim and this Sivir.
Well, we'll see how it goes on the Rift as we are ready for Game 4. Let's do it. All right, here we go, game number 4. And just a reminder, if Nongshim lose here, all these players are done for the year.
Yep.
That's it. It's over.
Pressure.
Until next year.
So,
and it's still August.
Yeah.
So
talking about the bot lane, notice Diable's gone for press the attack, not the lethal tempo. I think he wants that early power in lane and he doesn't want to go for long trades. You do not win long trades. If you're playing this matchup, you can outrange with poke with Neeko and Sivir. Like Sivir obviously has chip from the bouncing blades and also the boomerang blade. So you chip out from a distance. You can also do that from Neeko with her Q, and it's just poke, harass, and keep away. Because the second you get locked into it all-in, you're in big trouble. And the thing with the matchup of the AD carries is into Kalista, if she's stacking spears on you, you just have to guess with the spell shield. Because spell shielding their end is massive, but it's so hard to just guess slightly before the Kalista feels like they're going to spell shield. If the Kalista waits, you're just dead.
Yeah. It's not a whole lot of fun. VicLa's going to throw some rocks at Scout here.
Especially as you're so short-ranged on the Sivir.
Yeah.
It's really unfun. But they are doing a good job so far, just getting the poke down, keeping them at bay. Don't get baited into the all-ins. Especially level 3 is where there's mega danger.
Mm-hmm. Of course, they did see Sponge in their own jungle, so they knew he was down there. Makes a potential dive in top lane a thing. Although, you got to get Gwen kind of low before you do go. Oh, speaking of that.
Yeah.
Doesn't really have a health bar. Double buff here for Raptor. And level 3 is going to be hit by Kingen, but I think they just run at the Gwen. And there it is. First blood. Going to go straight over to Clear's Nidalee.
Yeah, really good flash there just to get out of the turret range from Raptor. And also he stacked up the passive on the Krugs so he could just instantly knock up Kingen. Even in the Zhao, didn't allow that sort of outplay potential to be there. It's a good start, a needed start for BNK FEARX.
Yeah, they need to get ahead, and they need to do it as soon as possible.
Oh, Diable's flash is down. I think Kellin flashed, hand-shook him, and actually was able to burn that summoner spell.
Yeah, I saw Taeyoon giving the big green thumbs up.
The big Zac thumbs up?
Yeah, underneath the turret, and I thought it was because of the top lane, but yeah, maybe a little bit different. So I'm actually watching the, yeah, he actually flashed handshook. I was watching the mini-map. Of course, a nice dive in the top lane, which we just saw.
And this makes it delicate. If Diable doesn't have the flash, if he oversteps slightly, gets tagged by something, Taeyoon could just run him down and then, or hop him down and then flash to kill him. So even though it's been a good early lane for Diable Lehends, it's still scary, still a precarious matchup to be in.
Raptor says, these are my Raptors. And he does get them. Sponge taking a lot of damage, but also stun down onto Raptor, who is going to get rooted here by the Ryze. Scout wants the kill as there's the bailout, but he will not be getting a takedown. So a kill goes over to Scout early on here.
Yeah, good play there. Scout gets the root. And Lehends, is the Blooming Burst? I think it's called, oh, we'll see the replay in the bottom left, how the flash got burned. The flash just caught Diable off guard.
We got a dead VicLa here in mid. He has flash, but yeah, just running around behind him and catching him.
Great setup there and playing around these roots well. The thing I was saying about the Bloom and Burst is for a support, for a rank 1 ability, which it is right now, it does a lot of damage when they're trapped in it. It just keeps proccing and proccing and proccing. So we see the play here. We see Sponge getting chunked out, but they push the play further. And then we get the root. On top of it, it's like 1 hit, 2 hit, 3 hit, allows Scout to move in and finish off Raptor. Not much recourse. And then the mid lane play, VicLa trying to push his wave in. Lehends right behind Sponge there. Just great angles here. And Sponge even commits the flash early because he knows he can't dash over the rock. Just early commits, like, we're getting this kill. I don't mind using my summoner here.
Yeah. See some really cool back animations there from Clear, but it's just Raptor getting in, and you know, he was just on his own Raptors, but he went back into the jungle of Nongshim and took some of those camps too that he had started the respawn on, so feels pretty good to do that and continue putting some pressure in the top lane. Kingen's still level 5, and Clear just hit level 6, so it'll take a while for him to feel good about that lane.
Yeah, a lot of time needed. Often with Gwen, it's when you have your E maxed, which is a second ability you max, and you have that lowest possible cooldown. Makes a big difference for the Gwen, which is going to be level 13, so quite some time away. Until then, you're really just surviving. At least the ult gives some power, though, which obviously Clay doesn't get much from upgrading his ultimate ability.
You can see the trading pattern that we had in top lane is the Nidalee goes in, takes a little bit of damage, does a lot to you, and then just heals it up. So
it's frustrating.
Get your ult
play into
and try to use it in an all-in if possible. Otherwise, you're just dying. Speaking of which, get your ult and use it in an all-in is happening right now as Clear is being run down here, but just runs under the turret, takes turret aggro, knows there's a Ryze behind him, and is doing a lot to Kingen, actually. Gets that last grasp stack. I think eventually he will die to the Ryze. He's actually doing a good job of kind of making this interesting. Can even try to threaten an execute or try to run away, but the root comes in and he doesn't have another jump. Oh, there's the heal. Okay. Keeping this interesting for a long period of time. He's dodging everything. There's another one. If he gets another heal.
Okay.
No, it's not going to happen. Scout presses his ability. That can't miss.
Yeah, so eventually he does go down, but the amount of time that was wasted was quite a lot. We saw VicLa pushing the wave, get this mid lane tower chunked a little bit, get a plate there. Does mean Kingen, I think the best thing about that for Nongshim was that Kingen didn't have to stick around. He could just go back to top lane, push it in, get some farm, get a plate. Otherwise, you would have felt pretty awkward about that whole passage of play. And we've seen bot lane staying pretty even. So Lehends and Diable doing a good job. If you're going even with this combo, especially when you have to get an early scout slingshot, you're feeling pretty happy.
Yeah.
I assume it's going to be the Yuntal first then, which is a sort of older build we saw. A lot of people going like more Essence Reaver recently. It obviously scales. Yuntal's an item that gets like a lot of stats when stacked up, but it's like weaker on that initial one item spike. But it did recently get buffed, so it makes a good amount of sense. I think the fact that the gold's even at 8 minutes doesn't sound like a big deal at all. There's still time for BNK FEARX, but doesn't feel the best. The fact that Scout has 2 kills already on the Ryze is worrisome.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of sailing through the early game. Like, there were a couple of punishes, I guess. And that was about it. I mean, they got that dive in the early game, and Nongshim got 3 kills in response. And, yeah, just sailing by, you know, they get 1 grub. That's fine.
Yep.
That's really all they're looking for. They're not really looking to try to take a fight right now.
Don't need to overcommit. That's the big thing. BNK FEARX are potentially threatening Diable there, but he does step back and disengage in the situation. So not going to get caught out there. Dragon hasn't been looked at really by either team. And I think it makes sense that Nongshim aren't in a rush to start it up. Uh-oh.
Standing on a ward is Lehends. There's the handshake. It's pulled through the rocks, and the flash engage Renata. And Kellin picks up the kill. Honestly deserved.
I think many sort of things happened there, and Lehends was like, oh, it's okay, though. No, it's still okay. And then eventually he was just dead. I will say, though, the kill, nice to pick up for BNK FEARX, but Lehends holding his flash so valuable for the Neeko. If you're planning a fight at all, it's honestly better just to die and keep the flash for that fight. We'll see if that ends up being put to use. Either way, not ideal for Lehends to be going down there.
Yeah, I mean, he's just standing on a ward. Like, directly on one.
Yeah, the worst part is he used his W, and as he got hit by the seismic shove, so didn't really gain any value. And I'm picturing
Kingen flashed in the top lane. Or, no, he didn't. He just dashed in. Looked like a flash in the small little screen we had in the bottom left.
Okay, well, we now learned the limit of what you can play-by-play on, and a small screen that's like...
My limit, at least.
4 inches across.
Yeah.
A little too small for you,
So
Brendan.
it's a little bit...
That's good to know.
Not quite my tempo.
Yeah. But putting a lot of pressure on now is Kingen, and this top lane matchup is feeling less convincing.
Especially because Clear is low on mana.
Oh,
man, he jumps in directly into the Gwen. Now he gets flashed on, and that is just disrespect. And Kingen sits him down.
Yeah, that was disrespect. I don't think there's any other way to say it. Clear overplays his hand, and we've seen games where Nidalee top has gotten a lead. It's just not been that useful. If you're getting solo killed by a Gwen at level 9, I don't think you're going to make it.
Yeah, well...
Kingen is going to make it.
He is, and Sponge is right there, even with 3 people there. I think Nongshim are totally fine with that. And now there's 4 people in the top lane. Clear just going to go bot. He's level 8, by the way, just hits 9. And just getting ready for the eventual Rift Herald, I guess.
I feel like so much of my thoughts about this game were kind of conditional on like Nidalee winning. And despite that, there was still a lot of hope for Nongshim. But it feels like I'm putting a lot of weight on this one moment, but to die to the Gwen here is just so disastrous. Really well played by Kingen, and yeah, he did get him.
He seemed very excited about it. Almost a little bit surprised, although I don't think anyone was surprised by him getting that kill after the jump in.
I was surprised by Clear jumping in.
Yeah, but after that happened, I think even Kingen was like, oh, I think I just get him here. But yeah, excited about the kill nonetheless because it really does get him back in the driver's seat in that side lane. Even though he's still down about 500 gold, and we do have a Trinity Force finished by Clear. But again, Gwen is going to scale a lot better than this Nidalee.
Level 13, when the E is maxed, you get like the most cooldown refund. You know, when like you dash and then you auto and you get the refund. That's the point where I think Gwen is just really unleashed. And, you know, back in the day, the cooldown refund was flat, and that's why she was so much stronger early. And now, the fact that you have it scaling up to 65%, it kind of put a dampener on an early game. But if you get through it, a very formidable champion to deal with. And I don't think BNK FEARX have the tools. Oh, no.
Everybody is trying to dive into Clear right now. The knockup comes in into the roots, and yeah, there's just too many people. Now the wall comes in, and that's why we see Taliyah into Ryze. For the response wall after your side laner already dies. So at least, you know, Taeyoon is down there. VicLa stays in the top lane and is doing a lot of damage to Sponge, at least, who is getting quite low, and he does actually get the kill, so VicLa gets away with it. A bit of a skirmish, little scrum over the blue buff, and
okay,
looks like Raptor will get away.
Little overstep from Sponge there, and this whole time, Taeyoon has just been farming bot and pushing the wave in, so BNK FEARX with a bit of a gold lead here.
Yeah, and Kingen, I mean, he's eating pretty well. This is a big commit from the side of Nongshim, but
this is a good play.
It's worth.
I like this. The catch-up clear, pretty straightforward. But the follow-up play is just a bit of an overstep. because Sponge is already pretty low when they go for this. And you know, you have limited time. When you go for a play like this, they are eventually going to move in and respond. Sponge spends too long there. Kellin comes in. Scout goes for to try and finish the kill off, but just doesn't quite have the damage yet.
Yeah, I think it was kind of close. It was a very thin margin to go for. You talked about just holding on to your flash if you're going to go for a fight. It is 40 seconds until the Rift Herald and Lehends flashes away.
Yeah.
So he's not going to have it for that, nor the Drake.
Doesn't have his Rocket Belt finished either, so not getting the max value of this Neeko right now. I think one-item completions would definitely help Nongshim a lot here. Kingen not quite there. We do have Diable's Yuntal finished though. Obviously once he stacks that up, decent amount of value, but definitely need more items for the Sivir truly online. The Fierce Dragon's been picked up already by Nongshim. I think if they offer you a fight, you're okay just saying, nah, I'm good. And just giving up the dragon. If BNK FEARX get the second dragon, it honestly does not shift the needle at all, really.
And also BNK FEARX, I mean, they have Kalista Renata, so Fate's Call is a little bit scary. But besides that, you know, you talked about Snap Engage. We have Zhao, we have, you know, maybe like a Taliyah wall set up. There's really not a huge amount of threats, so...
One thing you do have to worry about is
control.
If they're on the objective, Zhao often stacks his Q up on it and then dashes on you. They don't have to fight this. And I think it's dangerous to go for it. I think this is the right call. I think this is good for Nongshim. There's no pressure on you to make this happen. You're missing some key things like Lehends, Flash, and Rocket Belt. Nice little disengage there. Using the warp strategy from Lehends. They all
didn't have Flash, so you know.
It's an Ocean Soul as well, which feels really good because it means even if BNK FEARX starts stacking dragons, you're not overly concerned.
Yeah.
They are looking at the Herald, though. This is a bit more worrisome if they get it. A bit more meaningful.
Yeah, BNK FEARX setting up here. We do have the Realm Warp behind them. Scout on the flank. Again, he just has a Rod of Ages at the moment. The engage comes in onto Sponge, and he does get the one Cyclone as Lehends tries to get the knockup. By the way, the 1v1 is won by Kingen in the top lane, and now it's pretty close here. Taeyoon just hopping around. They don't have a good answer as the bailout is there as well. Nongshim, I don't think they should have gone for this fight, and they found out why as Kellin picks up the kill, and BNK FEARX get quite a lot off of the back of that.
I think it's difficult to find an approach to that fight that works for Nongshim. Even with Kingen decimating the 1v1, it still ended up just not working out for them. And I think you should have just let the Herald go, because the result now is they still get the Herald and they get a fight win. It's a double whammy, and you were really made to pay for that overstep. Lehends now has the Rocket Belt, and you see here, he just doesn't get much value. It's quite hard without Flash or Rocket Belt. Get a big ult in. Kingen is crushing the 1v1 against Clear. They have Scout in this angle. Sponge gets chunked out when he goes in, and then Lehends ults and only hits Kellin, who immediately gets Fate's Call. So the engage didn't work. Taeyoon starts getting autos down, but with the bailout, it's just never under any threat. Diable doesn't have the damage, doesn't even have the mana to take him down. This was a play that followed a good decision from Nongshim not to take the dragon. Goes into a poor decision to contest that Herald.
Yeah, I don't know what Clear said, but it's definitely frustrated by a situation. That's all I can really say. Sponge in a rough spot here. He's trying to just flash out of this one, but the flash on him from Raptor is going to be his demise. And Clear at least will pick up a second kill. And, I mean, this is exactly what BNK FEARX needed.
Yeah.
They get the Rift Herald, they get a fight, a huge one, they get the mid-tier 1.
I feel like the game was in danger of stagnating for BNK FEARX, and then Nongshim playing the hand, and suddenly they're the ones who can be the aggressors, just charge at Nongshim, and they'll eventually, someone will step out of position, you can finish them off. Taeyoon, 1,900 gold ahead, and this 2-item spike for Kalista is vile to play against. It's a fact as well, the static Shiv applies the Ren stacks when you get clipped by it. Sponge is just trying to find an angle here, has a bad flash, and then gets caught out. But it feels frustrating now because the Kalista can kind of just shove the Sivir in, and then when Sivir tries to clear the wave, you get tagged, you get poked. It's not a fun position to be in.
Yeah, now, I mean, BNK FEARX, it's not a lot of pressure from the Drake per se, but they have all the map control. And really the next thing on the to-do list is to find out a way to get far enough ahead to probably scale into Baron and then try to end this game before Nongshim gets online. And, I mean, Clear isn't a big side lane threat at the moment, so I am curious how they're going to utilize this Nidalee, as he can't even win against Kingen, down 2 levels. But, I mean, the team fight still looks good for now when they're this far ahead. Scout is going to get away with his Realm Warp, but that is the turret down, so that's all the outer turrets, plus the mid-tier 2. Kellin is, he's got, you know, the Kalista, and there you go. He throws himself back in, and he's actually totally fine, and now Diable is totally baited. It looks silly, but with the Kalista right there, he knew the range of it, as now Taeyoon is just frontlining. He's just going in there with the Rend. He is not going to get the bailout, funnily enough. Maybe on CD there, as now we're just going super deep for this one. Clear looking for the kill on a sponge. He says, I am useful. And he will live with the help of Kellin, who makes it all possible. That's 5 kills for BNK.
And Nongshim just keep playing into BNK FEARX's hands. They see Kellin here. It's a Kalista Renata. You know what is going to happen. This isn't some new thing. We've seen this combo a million times. They try and go for the Renata. The Fate's Call comes in to keep him safe. Diable isn't in a good position to team fight. Taeyoon goes super aggressive, but it has the bailout to make the play extend. Does end up timing out the end, and they just keep jumping forward. Clear, who had a rough time up against Kingen, finding some good value here.
So we're following Taeyoon.
Be
He's saying McHale's.
So much damage there to just execute Lehends.
Yeah, Ryze 잡았어.
Said we got Ryze. Or he got Ryze. I guess that was the Rend target he got.
So now Raptor, really far ahead in the jungle, has 2 items. Kalista, crazy strong, approaching 3 items. This went from a game where I think Nongshim had a good hold on it to just out of control in no time.
Yeah.
And this can happen when you're into things like Kalista Renata and you have a pretty short range composition. You know, a lot of people think of like Kalista Renata, you have to crush lane and the game is over. But it really can be difficult for some teams to deal with. We've seen players have fantastic late games on this champion. Pays Ruler have really ran games on this pick. And now Nongshim have gone to this uncomfortable position where it's so hard to step up. So hard to be in range off BNK FEARX.
And you're still so far away from really hitting your big spikes. Like 3 items on Sivir, 3 items on Ryze with the actualizer. Like, the fights that they go for are all happening when Scout doesn't even have a fully stacked rod.
Yeah.
They do not have the damage to fight those, even if they're getting like really fantastic engages, which they didn't. They were running straight into a Renata with the Neeko that didn't have flash. Right, so it felt very forced once again. This time he's got flash though, as they are looking for that backline, and you see that full health on Taeyoon. As finally he is going to go to the bailout. They take him down, but the rest of the team is there. As you see Raptors just frontlining, and they're just too far ahead at this point. Yeah, you got the Kalista, but they're so far ahead as a team now. There's nothing you can do. As BNK FEARX, they are just chasing him down. They're going to stick around and make sure Scout doesn't get the back, while the rest of the team looks for the Baron.
Oh, it hits.
Yeah, he's, okay, that didn't quite reach. How did that, what? He hit the spear right, he gets the extension on the...
I think he just didn't quite have the
That's
damage.
the way that, well, he jumped, but it didn't, huh.
Maybe he didn't target it, I don't know.
Maybe he didn't target it well, I don't know.
Again in a second. So they get on Taeyoon, but Taeyoon just takes so long to die. The McHale's comes in from the root. Diable charges in to get the damage down with a flash and just gets beat down by Raptor. He even gives a reset to Taeyoon. And sure, the Kalista's dead, but there's just so many other threats, and there was just no real gas in the tank here for Nongshim after that initial engage. Then we get this little runaway situation. We're not going to see it again. We don't get to go over it once more. Scout is getting stronger. He's approaching level 16. He's approaching the actualizer. We have seen games dictated by this Ryze pick on the 3-item spike, on the level 16 point, but There's a lot of threats in the other team that are very scary, and Diable's a long way away from really being online right now.
Yeah, and it's hard to say that you can really just run straight into a Kalista who has wits ends and bailout, and even if you do burst, or are you going to get through the bailout before dying, or someone on your team dying? Or
I mean, I think the ideal point for Scout is when you have Actualizer, which he just picked up with level 16, and then you also have a Seeker's Arm Guard. Because then Seeker's Arm Guard is so good against the bailout specifically, because if you do kill Taeyoon and he's trying to revive, you can just stasis and wait till he actually dies.
But are you going to be able to run into them alone, And,
no, it's a team-wide thing.
And hope that somebody else doesn't die? And
yeah, well, that's kind of the issue.
Yeah. It's like now he's hitting his spike, but I just don't know. Like, the main target is absolutely Kalista. But, I mean, even VicLa's like 5-1-7. He's no slouch.
Oh,
he's not Ryze.
Flank. Hasn't been spotted.
Okay, they're just sending it in. We do have the Realm Morph for Vision, I suppose, as he's just going to flash on a VicLa and try to actualize him, and they get Taeyoon on the right side. A lot of damage going into him, and they finally take down the Kalista, but Diable falls as well. And that might just be too much here, as BNK FEARX, they clean up the fight, and they might have just booked their ticket to the next stage of play-ins.
That's game. Nongshim try the flank, try to find the approach to shut down Taeyoon, and yes, he goes down, but the rest of the team stands strong. Scout does not get the value, and BNK FEARX will face down Hanjin Breon for the last spot in playoffs. Nongshim, this is the end of their season, the end of their year.
Yeah, it's kind of sad to have them go down like this, but BNK FEARX were absolutely the better team on the day. You cannot take that away from them, as VicLa is ecstatic. And it will be the battle of the Bs. The two B teams, BNK FEARX up against Bro for the last spot in playoffs. As big hugs to Lehends.